You cooked that beautiful piece of meat perfectly. You're hungry. Your knife is ready. But cut it too soon, and you might ruin the moment you worked so hard for. You've probably seen this before. You slice immediately, and suddenly your cutting board is covered in liquid while the meat in front of you starts looking drier. Resting gives the meat time to move away from the intense heat of cooking and settle into a more stable state before you slice. Here's the detail many home cooks miss. Taking meat off the heat doesn't instantly stop what's happening inside. Residual heat can continue changing the center. That's called carryover cooking, and with larger or thicker cuts, it can matter even more. Resting isn't doing nothing. It's part of the cooking process. So how can you tell when your meat has rested enough? Start by watching it. Fresh from the pan, the surface can look extremely active and hot. As it rests, that aggressive sizzling and steaming settles down. You're giving the meat a moment to transition from blazing hot cooking to ready to slice. And forget the idea that every piece of meat needs exactly the same resting time. A thin steak and a huge roast are completely different. The general pattern is simple. The bigger and thicker the meat, the more time it usually needs to settle. But don't stand there staring at a timer like your dinner depends on one exact second. Look at the cut, its thickness, and how intensely it was cooked. If you're worried about losing too much heat, you can loosely cover a larger cut while it rests. The key word is loosely. You don't want to completely trap everything. Wrap it tightly and you can trap too much steam, which may soften that beautiful crust you worked so hard to build. And yes, this is brutal when you're hungry. The steak smells incredible. Everybody is waiting and your brain is screaming, cut it. But this tiny moment of patience can separate a rushed dinner from one that feels seriously professional. Once the intense surface heat has settled and the cut has had time appropriate for its size, grab your knife. Now comes the payoff. Slice through it. Notice the difference. Instead of immediately flooding the board, the meat stays beautifully juicy where you actually want that moisture inside every bite. Put them side by side and the lesson becomes obvious. One was rushed. The other got the final step most people forget. So next time you cook meat, don't treat resting like dead time. Treat it as the final stage of cooking. Watch the size. Let the heat settle. Then slice. Your patience might be the difference between good meat and the bite everyone remembers. Follow for more cooking techniques that actually make you better in the kitchen.